Coming to you live, the Good Times Hour, and this is the second edition of the Good Times Hour playoff picks. First round, the happy round, the round where you get to watch 4 games in a day, like today. Hopefully, you've got the beverage supplies to last you through the whole day there, Robert. So joining us, we have 3 other invitees out there, but they have yet to hop on. But joining us from Carolina, from Raleigh, the home of Carlton Howard, is Robert Leonard.
Woo!
Robert, you submitted a pick, I think, for the 3rd round last year, but we get you for the whole 4-round shebang here this year. So we're excited.
Love it. Always willing to talk hockey.
Nice. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the picks. Where do I have that thing here? We have locked in. We've got 6 contestants total this so far. Please joining us for the first round. Mace Man, Mr. B, Timmy Gill. Hopefully he'll jump on in a little bit. He was with us last year. Juicy J has been a frequent guest of the show. Robert Leonard also contributed last year, and Carl the Truth Visser is a frequent listener and longtime fan of both Mace Man and I, and us of him. So this is exciting to have all 6 of us on board, and we have the 3 of us here ready to go. So let's jump in with our guest, Robert. Let's start at the top of the bracket, the way they have it. So New York Rangers versus Washington Capitals in the first round. Robert, you chose a controversial maybe call. You say Rangers in 4. What's the thought process behind that?
Well, obviously, being a Metro team, I watch these teams a lot. Washington might be one of the worst teams to make the playoffs in the last decade. I mean, the race,
entirely possible.
The race for that last wild card spot. I mean, Pittsburgh gave obviously Carolina Jay Gensel. The Detroit couldn't get it together, even though they had that crazy run. The Rangers are incredible. It probably won't be a sweep, but the Rangers are going to demolish Washington. It's not even going to be close.
Well, I think you're not wrong by far at all. And of course, you look at the goal scoring differential, and Washington is something like minus 37 against. So, and the Rangers by far and away the President's Cup winner. I think but a sweep, that's an interesting one. So that's starting. Obviously, that's the first sweep call. Carl the Truth picked New York Rangers in 5. Juicy J also New York Rangers in 5. Same with Timmy Gill in 5. Oh, there's Carl joining us.
Look at that.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Carl, meet Robert. Robert, Carl.
Hello, Robert.
Carl.
So, so we just hit you. We'll go back. Carl, we're talking the first round matchup. We're starting at the top of the bracket. Rangers versus Caps. You say Rangers in 5. What's going on over there? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I think the too strong. The Caps are not going to put up much of a fight there, I don't think.
But still 5. Robert called in 4, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any fight in that series.
Oh.
Timmy and Jay.
I didn't put any sweets in this round.
Okay. Well, sometimes first rounds, it's there's usually a sweep in every first round, the last couple of years at least. But
yeah, I already blew mine.
I almost took the blue team to get swept, but
we'll get to that one in a bit there, Carl. Okay, like I say, Timmy and Jay both called Rangers in 5. I picked Rangers in 6 only because I think there might be a little life left in Ovechkin when it comes to the big stage. I think there might be a little lift. In New York, we've seen a lot of times the President Trophy Cup winner, they can stumble the first or second game, and I think it'll be a holy miracle if Washington can stretch it to 6. But who knows? Long calls are what I'm good for. Long shanks, I should say. All right, Mace, you called the Rangers in 6 as well. What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, it's the playoffs, and those guys are going to get fired up just a little bit anyway. So they may give them a fight, but I mean, you got to give them. You got to think that they're going to. Well, I'm thinking that they're going to win 2 games. That's it. But who knows? That's a tough call.
Okay. Okay. Well, you start us up on this next round. Carolina versus the Islanders.
Yeah, I think that. Well, there was a lot of battles going on in the East there to make to catch those last 2 wild card spots, and I just kind of I don't know. Islanders were struggling early in the middle, and they kind of came on late, but I don't think they got much for Carolina. I mean, Carolina is a tough team to beat. Is Ginsel playing, Robert? Is he back?
Yeah, he did not play great last night. They kind of shut down our top line of Aho, Jarvis, and Ginsel, which has been just crushing people. They actually broke that line up in the third period. Tells you how bad they were playing. But yeah, Ginsel. We have one player out right now. Jesper Fast. That's it.
Yeah, so there you go. They're going to be a tough one to beat, no matter who's up against them. So I'd say that it's give them a win and that's it. If they get that.
Yep. You got Carolina in 5. I think it's going to be unanimous across the board here, just like with the Rangers. And it's not just because it's a top seed against the bottom seed. The Islanders were looking kind of shaky all year long, but Carolina's, they got the juice. And they've only gotten better at the trade deadline too. So I'm definitely calling Carolina. I'm saying 5, and that's only because I think Islanders may have one win in them for the jump that that Waugh puts in their step as the coach. That maybe they got a little something, but not much more than that. Timmy calls for a sweep. Carolina.
I've always liked Timmy Gill. He's a good guy.
Juicy J calls Carolina. Juicy J calls Carolina in 5. Robert, let's get to you. What's your call?
I picked Carolina in 5. According to Vegas, I picked Carolina in 4. I did take that line. I obviously could talk about this for hours. We beat them 6 years ago. We swept the Islanders. Last year, we beat them 4-2 in the first round. We played pretty horrible last night and won 3-1. We were dominated for 2 periods and won the game. This is going to come down. The special teams here is a joke. I mean, we led the league in penalty killing at like 86%. We were second only to the Lightning in power play percentage, just under 27%. The Islanders have the worst penalty kill in the NHL. And that was the difference last night. We got a power play goal, and we stopped all 3 of their power plays. Freddie Anderson is on fire. Was incredible last night. Incredible. And the thing that has always hurt us over the last couple of years is there's always been a hole. Like the goaltending's not been great. The scoring's there. The scoring's there, and the goaltending's not great. Or we dry up. The special teams, and like everything's clicking right now. What I saw last night, I think they're going to sweep them, but I went with 5 just because it's so hard to sweep somebody.
Okay, fair enough.
It really is.
All right, Carl, let's get to you, buddy. What was your pick there?
Yeah. I don't have my picks in front of me there. I sent to you, but I did pick Carolina. I forget how many games I said.
6.
Did I go 5 there as well?
6.
6. Okay. Yeah, I think they're Carolina's pretty dominant, but you never know. Someone can stretch it out a bit here, and so he's playing pretty good, and so.
Oh, Carl, you're breaking up on us here.
I just got.
Oh boy. Okay.
I think I heard Carolina in 3 is what I think he was saying. A forfeit game 4 is what I heard.
I can hear you guys okay.
Okay. Sorry, Carl, you're not
But
you're
I don't
getting
know.
frozen and not coming through much. So normally we would turn around and ask you about the Florida Tampa. So if I'll just go ahead and say Carl's chosen Florida in 7, which is a big thing. I hope you can come back on. Are you coming through right now, Carl?
You hear me now? I don't know what's going on here, guys.
Oh, there, that's better.
How's that?
Okay, I can hear you. You're
I just
kind
got
of
off the
spotty.
course ball, so
You're playing a little frisbee, were you?
yeah. We just got
Okay.
a Sunday fun day at Almont here. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I heard your question about Tampa, Florida.
So you picked Florida in 7. Talk
You
about
still
that.
hear me?
Yeah.
That I think that's one of those beauty matchups like Toronto Boston. I think it's the state rivals there. I think it's going to be a battle. Tampa's not going to go away quietly, and Florida's super strong. So they're going to go to the end there.
Okay. Okay, Robert. Let's hear the other side here.
I went Tampa in 6. And what I just watched in this game that just ended, I wish I could change that to Tampa in 7. Tampa did not look great today. Florida had their way with them. There was over 100 hits in that game. And if that kind of play continues, like Tampa's not going to win this series. Florida's power play has not been good for a team that won such a stacked division. They got a power play goal today that turned out to be the difference. I really think after watching game 1, Florida's going to win this series now, especially if it's going to be that physical. But my pick was Tampa in 6. I just didn't. I thought the special teams for Florida would be their killer, and Tampa's experience would come through. But it's Florida got the key game 1 and really dominated.
Well, I mean, it is the second season for a reason, and everything resets pretty well. And it's interesting to see when teams get hot or kind of slide into the playoffs, and sometimes that is totally perpetuated. Sometimes they turn it right around. The good guys are, they bring it up a notch. But certainly the physicality and everybody fighting for inches on the ice. So both Timmy and Jay again in alignment called Florida in 6. I say Florida in 7 because I agree with you, Carl. I think it's a great cross-state rivalry. I think there's still a lot of firepower on Tampa, and I know Vasilevsky didn't really have a great season, the typical form that he's had, but the great players find a way to play their greatest in the playoffs, and I think
Exactly.
I think Florida's just. I'm still hurting from the wounds last year, so yeah, I got to give it to him.
Reach.
Right. So I say Florida in 7, and Mace, you've got a contrary opinion on that one, don't you?
Yeah, I took Tampa in 7 just because I can't buy into the whole and look at Bobrovsky's record. He's still, even if they had won the cup last year, he would have had a losing playoff record. And everybody talks about how he's done this and he's done that, and he's the answer. But the answer to what? I mean, he's getting $10 million based on what? Getting him to the playoffs, and that's it. He hasn't gotten them any further. So, that's my opinion. I think that Tampa's going to squeeze out just enough to get through it, and then I was hoping that you guys would beat him next round, but it sure isn't looking good.
Okay, well, let's go right into that. Okay, the final matchup in the East, the one that is the most painful for some of us around here, Boston, Toronto. Mace, you went a little controversial on this one, didn't you?
Yeah, I wanted to change that as early as last night.
Mace, you chose Toronto in a sweep.
Oof.
Yeah, see, like I said, I already wasted mine.
Okay, so clearly he's lost that point on that one. You want to talk about it, or you want to move on?
Oh, well, I just kind of thought, they've been playing decent. They've got a lot of good players, and maybe this was the year, but obviously I'm starting to see why you're so bitter.
Thank you for seeing the light. Now Carl's smiling and grinning from
know.
ear to ear on this part.
What do you got to be bitter about?
Okay, so I am facing up to reality, and I'm calling Boston 6. Now, I did where I work. I get to see and talk to a lot of people, and Carolyn Cameron, she works for Sportsnet. She lives down the street, and I've geeked out on her enough to where she stops and talks to me a little bit. And I was asking her, "What do you think about this first round matchup? Are we gonna exorcise our demons?" And she's hopeful. So I'm picking Boston to win, so I can either get the points if I win, or if I lose, my heart is healed. You know what I'm saying? So either way, I'm going to win on this one. And for some reason, I think Toronto's got it in them to win 2. I think they're gonna win 1 in Boston and 1 in Toronto, and then that's it. So Boston. Besides, Boston shouldn't have been this good. They were in a rebuilding year, but somehow they've got the zeitgeist that just keeps the team going. I don't know. Timmy Gill calls Boston in 7. Interesting. Juicy J, Toronto in 6. Robert, let's get to your picks.
I went with the Bruins in 6. I actually, to your point, I picked. I do a thing with my buddy every year. He's like not a huge hockey fan, and I send him like this massive breakdown of what I think is going to happen. I picked Boston to miss the playoffs this year, and because Krejci leaving, Bergeron leaving,
right?
And then all of a sudden, they might have the 2 best goalies in hockey, and I mean it's unbelievable. Boston is far and away the better team here. I gave it 6. Toronto's skill is going to steal a game or 2. I mean, just when you have that much high-end talent, they're going to have a game where they score 4 goals, 5 goals, the power play gets 3. It's just going to happen. But, time and time and time again, the Leafs are just proof that it just doesn't work in the playoffs. And one of my good friends who's one of our hockey buddies, he said this perfectly last night. He was like, what's so frustrating about the Leafs is that you've got the 2 perfect examples in your division, Boston and Tampa, of how to manage high-end talent. And then to pick a Carolina, I thought, we got a unrestricted free agent, Brett Pesce, who's probably not going to re-sign. We were thinking before the season started, we could see like a Nylander for Pesce type deal, right? We didn't think Nylander was going to re-sign. Brett Pesce all of a sudden becomes your top guy. He's probably not going to re-sign here. And then you lock him up for 9 more years. I don't get it. I just don't get it, especially when you can look at Tampa and Boston in your own division. You see them 12 times a year or whatever 12 times a year, and you just can't do it. I know it's painful, but it's my opinion.
It's the heartache that is Toronto. And you know what? I don't think this is painful at all of a subject for our friend from Ottawa here to make his next call. You called Boston in 5. You're kind of giving the Leafs a little bit of credit there for winning 1.
That was my one that I was gonna go with the sweep, but I gave you credit for 1. I don't like Boston, but I really don't like Toronto. And but Boston's the stronger team, obviously. Paul, we've had many conversations with you and the Toronto gang.
Yep.
You've got a hand on us right now because my old Sens are they've packed their bags already. But and I even in my other pool took Marchand, and I hate that bastard. But
oh god, I hate him.
but I hate he's gonna help beat up those Leafs, I think, for me. So yeah, I gave you 1, but 5 for Boston for sure.
I just have to say this. Outside of New Jersey, Ottawa might have been the most disappointing team in the NHL this year.
Oh, it was terrible to watch. It was they play amazing against the top teams, and then crap the bed on playing the lower. Yeah. There weren't too many teams lower than us, but the goaltending was weak. Anyway, we don't have to dive into that.
All right, so Boston in 5 was a great
Boston 5.
I think probably a great call. Now let's switch gears over here. Let's turn around. We're going to start right at the top of the Western Conference matchup bracket, and we're going to go back to Mace to start us off here. This is Dallas versus the Stanley Cup champions, Vegas Knights. What do you call them there, Mace?
Oh, I picked them. I picked Stars in 6. I think that. I mean, obviously, you saw what they could do last year if they come together. Meaning the Golden Knights, if they come together and you know, pull a couple people off of LTIR and take advantage of that. You know, that they're going to be tough to beat, but they've really tanked, and not tanked, but definitely taken a slide in the second half of the season. So, you know, I'm not just going to write them off because they're going to be tough. But the Stars got a lot. I mean, we had 8 different people score over 20 goals, and so and honestly, I was reading an article about this morning, and it's a very good point with Dadnov coming off the injured LTIR, with him and Ty Dellandrea on the scratch, and Maverick Bork getting called up at some point. That's a 5th line that we can skate. So, I mean, in terms of scoring, it's not going to be an issue as long as we can keep the D strong. We should be able to drive deep into this run. So we'll see what happens. You know. It looks good on paper.
Well, I also called Dallas, but I call them in 5, just considering how hot a team they've been, especially towards down the backstretch of the season. They seem to be firing on all cylinders, and you know, I'm extending a lot of faith. I can't extend to Vegas the credit that they're probably due, even if they've got the rings. It's Vegas. They should be back in Quebec City like every other good team.
Based on what? I mean, they started there. I kind of have the same kind of problem with Florida. Like, okay, whatever. You got all these people and you're spending a lot of money, but you still haven't done anything with it.
Yeah. Well, Dallas in 5 is my lock in there. Timmy Gill. I don't know if this is a vengeance call on his behalf. I'd love to hear from him, but he calling Vegas in 7, and so is Juicy J. I don't know if those guys shared notes before this, but they both called Vegas in 7. That's not going to make any friends on the Mace Man and Mr. B Hour show. All right, Robert, let's get to you.
I went with Dallas in 6. Dallas was my preseason Stanley Cup pick. You know, and how often do you win the West or win the East, and your reward is the defending champs who are arguably better than they were last year? When you add in Hurdle and a full season of Hill and Net, probably the worst possible matchup for Dallas. But at the end of the day, like Mace is saying, just their top to bottom talent is just unheard of, and I have so much respect for Dallas. I'm so glad that they're a Western Conference team and we don't have to deal with them left and right here in Carolina. But I took Dallas in 6, and I think the second round matchup for Dallas might be easier than the first. I mean, Vegas is a brutal draw. Brutal.
You know, I had dinner beside a guy last night that he couldn't wrap his head around the fact that it's not 1 against 8 in the NHL. Yeah. He's like, "What do you mean? Wait a minute. What do you mean? You're not playing the 8 seed? Stars are the best in the league." And I was just like, I tried to explain it, and this guy's a big football fan. He grew up playing football and basketball, and he was like, "Dude, I don't get it." And I was like, "Dude, I mean, I don't get it either. I mean, the 28 years of hockey in the desert that didn't work. I don't get that either. I mean, you can't be explained." I said, how about I explain it to you like this? What about the NFL overtime rule? He goes, "Oh man, wait a minute, that's different." I'm like, "No, it's not different. I mean, you're not giving people an equal chance. It's very. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Make it make sense? No, you can't make it make sense." So
the draw is just it's hard. You probably would have swept.
Go ahead, Carl.
I was going to say in the East there, it was Pittsburgh and what was the other team battling? Both finished ahead in points of the Islanders, right?
Right.
and they're not.
No.
They're not in.
It's
No.
we could rail all we want. Yeah, unfortunately, nothing's going to change, and it's probably just going to keep getting worse. But we're still hooked because it's hockey and we love it. All right,
Hey,
Carl.
these guys are players. They know. They know what's
Oh,
right.
yeah. All starts with Alan Eagleson. You called Dallas in 5.
I said 5. Hey, yeah. I don't. Like everyone said, Dallas super strong this year and are rolling along really good. I think Vegas with their little long-term injury rule are going to get bit here this year. But Stone, one of my favorite players, playing that rule a couple times now, is he's getting on my bad side. So I'm gonna go with the green there and go with Dallas.
Yeah, I don't know if
Okay.
he's even playing. From what I read, I don't think he's
He's
skating yet.
not quite back, but I don't like it anyway.
Mark Stone from the good old Sens days, definitely. All right, kick us off on the second matchup: Winnipeg and Colorado. You said Colorado in 7.
That was a hard one. That I found that one really hard. Colorado is just a beast. Winnipeg's playing amazing this year. I think that's going to be a battle right to the end. It's too bad because it's one great team is not going to get to the second round, but I think Colorado's got too much.
That's part of the talk last night. That there's lots of great teams that aren't going to make the second round. There's going to be a second round matchup that's better than the third round matchup.
Yeah,
at least one, if not 2.
Yep.
All right, Robert.
But that's the first round, right? That happens every year.
It's true. Robert, you got a bit of a differing opinion on the first round, and what's your pick in Winnipeg, Colorado?
I took Winnipeg. Colorado coming down the stretch was not good. Not good. I mean, what there was? I think it was against Winnipeg. They got beat like 6-0 or something. I mean, just shellacked.
I think the Stars put 7-2 on them too.
Yeah, Winnipeg is so balanced. Connor had a great year. Toffoli, former Hurricane Nito Niederreiter is just such a good player for them. And then they got a guy who's going to get some hardware in that, right? In Hellbuck. So, I've been riding Winnipeg hard this year. I think they can get to the cup if they get hot. That's a team that nobody wants to play because they can win a game 1-0. They can win a game 5-0.
You got some good points on all of that for sure, and definitely speaking from the Canadian perspective, we love seeing Canadian teams make it out of the first round, no matter who, even the Senators. Okay, so Juicy J.
Hey boys, I got a jet. Sorry,
No worries. Thanks for joining us, Carl. We'll read out the rest of your picks.
Okay, we'll catch you next.
We'll catch you on the second round,
Thanks.
my man. Thanks for
Good luck to all.
participating.
All right, ciao. Yeah.
So we have Juicy J choosing Winnipeg in 7, and Timmy Gill taking in Colorado in 5. I agree with both you guys, and what most of the experts are saying is that this is going to be a match of the two Titans in the first round, and you don't want to see either one of those teams go. The beautiful, athletic, competitive teams, well assembled, especially built for the playoffs. And the addition of Nito Niederreiter, I've always loved him ever since the junior days. He just got that right amount of rough edge and skill that he's that kind of talent weapon that teams need to pick up for that specific long playoff drive. So I'm calling Winnipeg in 6, and going to sit back with my popcorn ready for the show. Mace, what do you say?
Robert, on your email, was it from Riverside?
Uh-huh.
Timmy's not finding his, so I was just trying to figure that out. I picked the Jets in 7 just because, man, there's a lot of talent on that Colorado team. I mean, it's not exactly clear to me because I didn't watch enough games of theirs this year what their problem is, but like what Robert was saying, they slid. They definitely crumbled down the stretch, and I think that it's a strong possibility that they're going to put up a battle. But man, if the Jets shut you down, it's over. I mean, the Stars played them 4 games back. I think, yeah, it was they were like the 88th game or the 79th game, I think, and 78th game. And man, they got on us early, and the Stars stopped playing their game and started playing the Jets stifle game, which is Rick Bonus special. Saw a lot of that here, and yeah, I don't know I don't think that I think it's going to be a battle, but I don't think Colorado's getting out of there.
Okay. Before we go on to the final two matchups, we just want to say apologies to Timmy Gill for sending out the wrong or not sending out the right invite link at the right time. We definitely know your passion for this, and so when we have you on
He's
for the
actually
second
trying
one,
to get on, but I'm not having to getting him on there.
Well, hopefully when he does join, we can go through all of his picks directly. Awesome. So let's turn around, Mace, and look at the Vancouver-Nashville matchup. You call Nashville in 6, controversially enough, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, Nashville's been on a tear for half the season, and I'm not sure that maybe Vancouver is all that, but I think I think Nashville's going to catch them off guard.
I called Vancouver in 5, and I think I must have been drinking some of the Canadian Kool-Aid because I was just excited about 4 potential Canadian teams making it into the second round. I forgot Vancouver is, they find interesting ways to lose too and break hearts. They're the Leafs of the West Coast, and everybody knows it. No one can deny it. No Canadian certainly can deny it. So I'm regretting this, but I called Vancouver in 5, and based on just the hype of the young squad, and the city is just dying and crying for an extended run of the playoffs. But I'm prepared to write that one off for sure. Timmy Gill, when he gets here, he can explain his Vancouver in 7. Juicy J is enjoying a stroll on Queen Street with his 2 ladies in his life, so he's calling Vancouver in 6. But Robert, let's get to you.
I got the Predators in 7. I think Philippe Forsberg might be the most underrated superstar in the league. I mean, he had 40-something goals. Ridiculous. And Saros, I saw a game in Raleigh last year where Saros had, I think it was 62 saves, and the game was a regulation game. That was not a playoff game. It was the Hurricanes fans. We gave him a standing ovation at the end of that game. It was that in a game in Raleigh.
Wow.
That's a really bad experience for Vancouver. They, really bad matchup, I should say. All that young talent, all those players. Like Vancouver's a team in 3 years I don't want to play. They remind me a lot of what Carolina looked like 4 and 5 years ago. And they need to go through these playoff losses a couple of times, get that experience. That's where I think they are. Terrible matchup for them. Elias Lindholm has not worked with them. Like it just seems like they were just that team that was hot and good and then just kind of just maintained. And that's
right.
Running into a fiery team that can play any way you want. And that's a bad matchup for a young team with a ton of talent. But, this is one of I could see Vancouver sweeping. I could see them getting swept. There's so many things here because anytime you're doing talent versus experience in the playoffs, you just have no idea. But ultimately, I went experience in 7.
Okay. That's a good call. Carl looks like he's, I don't know, also drinking the same Canadian Kool-Aid, pick Vancouver in 5. And I think for this final matchup, Edmonton, LA Kings, right across the board, we're all in agreement. I'm just going to get that on the table first. Carl calls it in 6. You, Carl, call Edmonton, Robert, in how many?
5.
5? Okay. Let's talk about your final matchup there.
I mean, if you take away the first 20 games for the Oilers, they're the President's Cup winner this year, right? I mean, it's unbelievable how they have turned this around. I almost picked them to sweep LA. LA's just like one of those teams where it's like I don't really understand how they're so tough to play.
Yeah.
I mean, Edmonton's power play. I mean, Edmonton's the team that's always going to get out of the first round, and then when it gets tough, they're going to crumble. So I think they're going to destroy LA.
Okay.
So
Juice picked
Timmy's
them in
on,
6.
but he's not figuring out how to activate himself.
Okay.
And obviously, I'm not that smart. So
Juice picked Edmonton at 6. We're going to skip over Timmy for now because we hope he can join us and talk about his matchups. I picked Edmonton in 6. I mean, when you have firepower such as Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, I mean that's a legend there. That's like Yager and Lemieux playing together, or Gretzky and Curry. Like that's the dream combo. I think they still, like you said, they started off really poorly, and Vancouver. You look at Vancouver after 25 games versus Edmonton after 25 games, the first 25. You wouldn't have thought, one was going to make the playoffs for sure. And certainly, I don't know what that win streak they went on middle of the season or towards the later part of the season, but it was ridiculous. The whole city's behind them. I think even most of the province, with the exception of hardcore Calgary itself, is behind Edmonton. They're going to feel the love, but they're probably going to express some nerves and probably just lose a couple of bad bounces. They've got such great talent on every end, but the goaltending has always been that one kind of question mark. I don't know if they got it this year, but I say in 6. And now, Mace, to finish it off, you call Edmonton in 5. What's going on there for you?
Well, the Kings haven't done anything in a while, and I mean they weren't much of a foe to anybody in the last 3 weeks of the season, and so I don't think that I think that Edmonton's just going to roll in there like a house of fire. So I said 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I've written down 6, but that makes sense that I said 5.
Let me just double check here. Looking at your original text, we always strive for accuracy here on the show.
I could have made a mistake on the text.
Edmonton in 5, yeah.
All right, I'm standing with it.
Okay.
I think they started off horribly, and they've been in playoff mode since November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they've been playing like that. So I mean, it's going to take an effort. I'm not going to say that you can't beat them, because they definitely have laid a couple of turd performances in the last couple of weeks as well. So I mean, anything's possible, and anybody like it. This will be the same as it ever was. You get in and you could win. Just don't lose.
Yeah.
Make sure you pull down 16 wins, and you're going to carry that cup. So I mean, it's possible that any of them can do it, obviously. But I think I think they're going to put their foot in LA, and it's going to be over pretty quick for them.
I've said it many times. 16-9 is not a great record unless you're in the playoffs, right?
Right.
Or 16 and 12, I should say.
We all called the same. We have unanimity on a couple of series. We all chose Edmonton. We all chose the Rangers, and we all chose Carolina. Where we differ was we've got differing opinion on Florida, Tampa, Boston, Toronto. Yeah, there's pretty well split. Even only 2 people took Toronto, I should say. Dallas, Vegas. We have again 2 people taking Vegas, and 2 people taking Colorado, despite how close it's going to be. So Vancouver, Nashville was the only one where we evenly split. 3 people chose Van, 3 people chose Nashville. So we'll have to see how this all unfolds. What do we want to do with Timmy? Is there anything we can do to get him on right now?
I I don't know. I mean, he says he can see and hear us, but I don't know
Okay.
what to do beyond that because yeah, I'm not that smart.
Um,
Well, there's
sorry,
that part.
Timmy. We're just learning some new technologies here. Please forgive us on this. This is we did a little bit of a dry run before this, but obviously, Mace and I,
Still got a
we
couple
need
things
more
to
than a
learn.
dry run. So I don't know where else to take it if we can't seemingly get Timmy to be actually on camera and with the. We've already got your picks in there, Tim, and maybe we get this all set up for the second round. We can get you to just reiterate and call, at least go over what you had thought at the beginning of the series for your first round picks. But definitely we'll have you on for the second round. So thanks
Yeah,
to
well,
thanks to you guys.
it's also possible that maybe we have a follow up. Not next week, but the following.
Well, I mean, the first round should be done kind of by then, right? About
Mm.
2 weeks.
Yeah, it's actually well, it's set to go long. I mean, it's set to like I'm going to be on that trip to the Carolinas here or to Virginia here, the first through the seventh, and it's entirely possible that it'll go like Game 7 could be on the 7th
Oh,
of May
okay. Wow.
because of other conflicts and whatnot. I mean, there's a couple of
So,
there's a couple of jumps where there's 3 days in between. Like for our series,
okay.
well, we didn't start late anyway, so
So what you want to do a meeting? What do you want to do?
well, we'll do it. Let's do a test. Let's get together with everybody first and make sure
Okay.
we can get everybody on because obviously
Yeah.
we're right here in our 3-person comfort zone right now.
I just
Anything
look.
more than that?
No idea. I didn't do anything special, Timmy. I mean, I don't know.
So the other thing we just want to say quickly is we cannot do the show on Monday, the scheduled show with Mark Horn. We're gonna see if we can do Friday. I have
It's
something
it's
earlier.
tentatively approved for Friday.
Okay.
Mark's got to check with Susie. He said he thinks it works though.
And then are we booked in with Jim Palmieri on the following Monday? Do we have any confirmation on that?
I'm gonna give it a yes, but I will call. I'm gonna make a call this afternoon to confirm that.
And so that's the regular scheduled good time shows. We will be back. We'll set up a date for this after sometime right after the first round, before the second round begins. It'll be kind of hopefully less ad hoc than this. Be a little more comfortable with the technologies, and we'll be prepared to do it again with some more extensive notes and great observations. Robert, thanks for your valuable input, making the show much. I feel it was a great success and very interesting, and great to hear
Yeah, well,
your hockey opinions.
we get 3 more opinions on here, and it's really going to be lively.
That's
I'm just
absolutely
waiting
true.
for like when like two like fans. Like obviously it's hard with me and Carolina, but like somehow Toronto gets out and it's like Carolina Toronto in Eastern Finals or like something like that
That'd be
happens.
great.
And that,
They might get Paul back on the wagon.
I mean,
Get the
I say
Leafs
this
to the
every
Western
year.
Conference Finals.
I say this
Oh,
every year. Like I do not apologize for what playoff hockey does to me. I
right.
was screaming at Islander fans leaving the building last night. You're 2-9 against us. What do you got to say? Like screaming at them.
No, that's how that goes, man. I've told Red Wings and Blackhawks fans to go use the stairs, not the escalator, at the beginning of the game. Okay, so that's how that goes, man.
Whenever we
You don't
play a
put that
team
kind
that
of convenience in for the visiting team.
like whenever we play a team that doesn't have a cup, like I'll take a shot at Timmy right now. Let's say we're playing the Wild, right? And I run into a Wild fan, I'd be like, is it weird being in an arena with a Stanley Cup banner? Does that like throw you off? Like I'll drop it. I'll drop it in a hurry.
I've used a different approach where like I had a Sharks fan really giving me a hard time one night, and they were winning, we weren't, and he kept on, and I go, hold on a second, man, I want to point something out to you, and he goes, what's that? And I go, you see that black banner in the middle up there? And he goes, yeah, and I go, I did my homework on the internet, and I found that they don't make one of those for your team yet.
Oh,
And dude, it's just like it just kind of takes the air out of the room, you know.
I told a Panther fan in Florida, the game I went to this year, Carolina, Florida, in Miami. And they were like, "What do you think of the arena?" I was like, "Man, the lights are great because there's not banners like blocking them. It's really good view."
Oh, a special brand of trash you brought out just for the playoffs. I love it.
Love it. Love
I'll
it.
say this though, there's one place in your neighborhood that you can go, and I've done shows in lots and lots and lots of those kind of buildings. But you go inside the Dean Smith Center, and you're not going to see more banners anywhere.
Oh, it's
Anywhere.
unbelievable. Unreal.
I mean, like, all the rafters on all four sides, all four directions have banners. It's pretty amazing.
Yep. It's about 20 minutes from
Nice.
me. Been there many times.
I have yet to see a banner raised in my lifetime, and probably never will in my lifetime. So I can just say, congrats to you and your sports teams.
I can just say I was at Game 7 in 2006 when we won it.
That's like
Nice.
7 scoops of bitterness.
Oh yeah, no, that's goes back a long way, and I'm still hurting from those childhood trauma wounds. But in the meantime, we are going to bid our adieu, and with gracious thanks to Carl for jumping on, Robert for being here, Timmy, sorry you can't be. You're with us, but you're not there. Thanks to Jay for the picks. Mace, good luck to you with the picks, and I look forward to seeing everybody on the next Good Times Hour show with Mark Horn.
Love it.
So
Go Kings.
Yeah, right on.
thanks everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Enjoy the playoffs. All right.